What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Today, we're going to be going over match week 10, which will lead into match week 11, and after that, we're going to have the international break. We're going to go over the mini league today, and we're going to go over the biggest surprises of this week. Which team lost, which team won, and we're going to be speaking about Manchester United and their new hire. I'm Randy.
And I'm Alan.
And I'm Pat.
Let's start it.
All right.
Let's go.
You had mentioned match week 10 that we're going to go over. It got me thinking. And I want to see what your guys' perspective is, right? So I'm very emotionally attached to the Spurs. What makes you react more? A win or a loss?
I think it all depends, honestly. Last week, when I was talking a lot of shit, I was hyping myself up. Depends, man.
I think for me, I feel like I react probably more to a win, but when we lose, it affects me longer.
Yeah.
Because you just got to sit with it. If you win, it's like you're good, you're happy, and then you can get on with your day.
Yeah, it affects you longer because we're in the group chat and you lose, we're coming after you.
You keep thinking about everything that could have been done differently. And players talk about this stuff too. Like they'll sometimes have sleepless nights where they have one big miss and then they lose the game by a goal kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a missed penalty or should have zigged when you should have zagged and things like that. Small details. But in that heat of the moment, it's hard to do.
I have a bigger reaction to losing, but it's shorter lived because as soon as we lose, it's like, cursing up a storm and, your day's ruined for maybe an hour and a half, right? But I'm not going on social media because then you start seeing all these memes and everything. So, I stay away from that. And so I try to disconnect from football. But after a win, I like to savor it, So it's not such a big reaction, but it's longer. So it's longer lasting, You start reading the stats on how good your team did that week and you start looking at who's the next opponent and okay, how do you match up, right? But when it's a loss, it's like a ripping off a Band-Aid. I don't know.
But I think it also depends on the team we're against. If it's like a team like Southampton, it's not going to be that big of an emotion. But if it's against one of our rivals or a big team, I think that's where you get more of a reaction from.
Yeah.
Because I think our teams are not supposed to lose that much. So if we lose, it's okay, it affects us. Because we're, the top 6 teams, we're winners. We have, everyone thinks we're supposed to be going for titles and stuff like that. So I think our mentality is we can't afford to lose that much. And if it does,
That's true. Yeah, I was just wondering, I know, because we have some winners and some losers on this episode right now. So,
loser.
You opened it up with a nice and honest conversation just for that, huh?
Slow dagger.
He's twisting the knife slowly. That's what it is right now.
I know.
No, I actually wanted to bring it up last week, but I know we had a long episode. But then I was like, what a coincidence.
I wanted to bring it up last week, but...
All right, let's get started. While we're on the subject of losing unfairly, let's...
again. Wow. Some things never change.
Never change. Yeah, we opened up Saturday morning, bright and early. First game, Newcastle at home, St. James Park, hosting Arsenal, who have been rather unimpressive so far. Unsure of what exactly that might be due to. Obviously, Odegaard is a big miss in this team, but going into the game, I was feeling optimistic. I knew it would be hard. Obviously, St. James Park is a hard place to go to, even for the away fans. Yeah, not the greatest game. They scored early, and it was a beautiful cross in, and Isak just gets to the header first. Nothing Raya could do, and after that, the game was just there was nothing much in it. I mean, I don't think Raya aside from that goal, he had one save maybe. Same thing with Arsenal. I mean, Newcastle kind of parked the bus on us. We were missing Ben White on the right-hand side, so we have to start Partey, and we just didn't have control of the midfield. It was very sloppy from both ends, but that's something that suits Newcastle to just kind of create that chaos and when they get the ball, they just kind of try to get you on the counter. But yeah, there's just not much in it aside from the goal from either team. I heard something on one of these podcasts that they said that because a lot of people mention Arsenal going through this season without a striker and an out striker. Obviously, Kai Havertz has been playing multiple different roles, and he kind of plays that false nine kind of thing. But they were mentioning that we are just not creating a lot with the Odegaard missing. They were saying that if Havertz gets that chance that Isak gets to put the first goal for Newcastle in, Havertz scores that. But if Isak was playing for us, that chance doesn't happen. He doesn't get a chance at that header. And I thought that was a really clever insight as to, I think we've been able to manage without a striker. Havertz does the job. We have a lot of tall players, but that creativeness is just lacking so much. I think a lot of this is also due to Arteta. I think he got the starting lineup wrong. I think Wanyera should have started. We were clearly not missing much. We just needed some creativity, and he's probably our most creative player. I think Trossard's just not working in that 10 role. We've tried it so many times. He clearly is just a better player coming off of the bench. So I think it was just planned wrong. Again, there was not much in it. I think if we had just had a better starting 11, better plan, we could have won this because they were just not as impressive as they were against the other teams that they've put up a fight. Man City,
You said, if you guys had a better starting 11, do you mean had a better starting 11 or group of players to pick from? Like if your bench was better, or are you talking about if, with the players they had, if he would have picked a more suitable starting 11 from the players you have?
Yeah, from the players we have. Like I said, I think Trossard's he's just not filling in that number 10 role. He kind of falls back too deep, kind of gravitates towards the wings. And like I said, we lost the game in the midfield because if we had better control of the midfield, we could have had better chances, I think. So I would have started Wanyeri. I would have benched Trossard, bring him on in the second half if we hadn't scored a goal yet, just to have a difference maker or, swap him out for Martinelli. In the second half, they brought on Jesus Wanyeri, who basically took over what Odegaard's role was. And we had Zinchenko to basically get more control of the midfield. And we pressed them, and we were pressing so high. It looked like the old Arsenal. And I just kept thinking to myself, we could have been doing this all game, but instead we're doing this in the last 15 minutes of the game, where they were comfortable with the goal. They were comfortable sitting back. They were comfortable just not creating much as long as they held on to that 1-0 lead.
Sounds familiar.
And I mean, it's different because they scored in the 12th minute. You know what I mean? So I just
still, even in the 12th minute, I wouldn't hold back. I would still play the game.
That's what I'm saying.
More.
Yeah, but they were comfortable doing it. So do you really blame them? If that's their game plan, they're like, let's just get the goal, and then let's just control the game from that. Let's not let Arsenal do their thing. And at the end, once we brought in all our old players, it kind of felt like that old Arsenal that just kind of controlled games, pressed teams, and it was just thinking the game was open before that, but
you liked your chances better in the second half.
Yeah, but
it almost sounds like this is a manager failure. I mean,
yeah. I think it was not planned well enough.
There has been somewhat of a shift, and you're seeing all those social media, Arsenal fan pages talking about how, they're mentioning how Arteta's kind of going back to that, I guess, defensive, and someone was comparing him to, is he transitioning to like a Mourinho? Yeah. And you kind of see it. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. Obviously, you play with the hands, with the cards you've been dealt, right? So that's all you can do. You can't just sign a player in the middle of outside the transfer windows. But that does mean his tactics during the transfer windows. Like, what was he thinking then? What was he thinking? What was the backup plan for situations like this?
I mean, good thing you mentioned the transfer window, because I think Pat is aware now about Edu leaving. So do you think Edu might have had this is why he might be leaving there, because there wasn't enough what's it called? Activity going in the transfer window. He wasn't pleased with certain things because
No,
everyone's talking about you guys got certain players like Calafiore who's injury prone. I think you made some good signings, but Marino, Arteta too, who just came in injured as well. So there's speculation about what's going on behind the scenes. They were saying
I just don't think there's much in it because he was rumored to have been tempted with other things before. It was only a matter of time. He was offered a better role at Nottingham Forest, and there's some movement going on in our club where I think his role wouldn't have been able to expand farther. So I think it was just his personal goal to kind of move on to somewhere bigger eventually. So, but I think this is a good time for us to now keep moving forward, because if we didn't do well in this transfer window, then it's partly his thing to assume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Alan discussed last week, you guys have the tightest squad, and now it's showing. And that falls again on Arteta. He knows he's in Champions League. He knows he's got 2 domestic cups. The Premier League is going to be tight. There's a lot of games. I don't know what his mindset was thinking, but I think that's, like Alan said, that's basically failure on the manager part. I think they should have prepared much better and gotten proper backups, even if they're youth, domestic league cups or something like that. But now you wish he would have done more, seeing how your season has turned up with injuries and stuff like that.
I just think at the same time, if the money's not right, if the player's not there, then why make a panic buy? You know what I mean? Then we could have been burned on buying somebody, spending 80 million on a player that could also be injured or could also just not pan out, could take a whole season to get used to it. And then everyone's criticizing him and it makes things worse for the player. I mean, look at a player like Pepe that we signed a couple of years ago.
That's what I was just going to say.
Dude has better numbers than Mudryk, than Antony, than Mason Mount, but he got so much criticism for the price that he was bought for. So I think at the same time, if the player that we were looking for wasn't available, or if the money wasn't right, it was too much, I can't really blame them for not making a move. You know what I mean? Because I think about it, and what player was out there available and affordable that would have replaced Odegaard?
But look at what you've spent on Rice.
That's when you have your scouts. That's when you do your scouting.
But
you
again,
look at other leagues,
but a scout would have found us somebody just like Wanieri, a young prospect that would be cheap. You know what I mean? We already had that.
Or you go to struggling clubs like Inter, who are in a financial situation which they're going to have to sell. There's ways, Shakhtar, Donetsk. You got leagues like that.
Well, Shakhtar tried to rob us blind for Mudryk for 100 million.
Yeah, but
so,
I mean,
you can say that, but
you got those
if the
types of
player's
clubs.
not there, if the player's not there, who are we going to grab? Because I'm asking you to give me names. Who was available that we could have grabbed to replace Odegaard?
I mean, there's loans options.
Yeah, exactly. There's loan.
Well,
and
I
mean, to the academy players, bring them up, but you gotta give them the chance. Don't just put them on the bench and then not use them. But
I'm sure there's someone in the Serie A somewhere that could have.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's what I was thinking. Serie A, like an Inter Milan, because they're always trying to struggle. I mean, they're struggling financially, so they're trying to sell to recuperate. But there's teams that are in there that you can get quality.
But I mean, it's still at the end of the day, it's still a risk, right? But
everything's a risk.
I think what must hurt is, out of all seasons, the season that Man City is rockiest, right? And they're not doing as well as the other seasons. It was your opportunity to kind of give it to them, and it's like I think we're all kind of a little bit.
It's a weird season.
It is.
It's a weird season, but I will say this:
you got phonies in the top, and
look. The only phony at the top is Arsenal. If you look at all the top and Spurs, if you look at all the top 6, 4 of them have actually won championships,
and only one of them has a Golden Premier League, and more than one Premier League. Because as far as I know, Liverpool only has one.
I was gonna say, look, Nottingham Forest is up there, and he's won.
And they're happy with just one.
That's true.
No, but honestly, I was just thinking Arsenal, after how they played against Liverpool, I thought they found a good Band-Aid, or something like that. They found a good format to stay competitive, to at least hold out until Odegaard showed up. I didn't expect them to lose to Newcastle. I thought they could have probably had a draw because they played so well last week. But I was surprised by the showing that Arsenal gave, and I honestly expected them to actually get a point or 3 out of this, honestly, because Newcastle's been a hit and miss as well. But I thought Arsenal would have more to give, more fight, and I thought they would have been able to grind out a win. Dark arts.
Yeah, same thing with Spurs. When we play Newcastle, they get nasty, straight nasty. Like the ref lets so many fouls go, and I think for both ways. But theirs was just like it was so aggressive. I was just like, what? What's the need for this? And you do it once. The referee lets it go. It's early in the game, and then that dictates the game. Then they could do it all game. Basically, it was at the end of the game. There was like the first yellow card was in the second half, I believe. The first one that was like an aggressive foul. But and I hate that about going there. That's one of the reasons why I hate going there. But
yeah,
they got the goal early. They protected their lead, so good on them. Odegaard, hopefully, we'll see some minutes tomorrow in the Champions League against Inter, and then hopefully he can at least get at least maybe 45 minutes against Chelsea.
Do you risk it in that game, though? Honestly, for Champions League?
I think he gets at least a couple minutes at the end. You gotta touch grass,
Yeah, you gotta get a little.
I mean, but also wet as well, you guys are. I believe you're in the. You're still in a good position though. But yeah, I can see you guys giving him at least some minutes. You're not in risk of losing or getting out of it. Still, you're in a good position.
Yeah, we're gonna win it, so we want to give him time. We want to make sure he gets his medal.
Participation medal. Thank you for showing up.
All right, next game.
And on to more losers.
Yeah. We're Arsenal's not doing great. They're losing, but at least Man City's not like running away with it this early. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, Bournemouth at home hosting Manchester City, who apparently only had 13 of their starters ready or something like that, and then they all show up on this game magically. Dark arts. But
now you know where Arteta learned it from.
Maybe. So yes, Semenyo opens it up. Semenyo, man, what a player. Evan Nilsson scores 64th minute in, and then Guardiola scores to save them from embarrassment, but I don't think it really saves them from embarrassment, does it?
No, because this game, Bournemouth should have gone up 3 or 4. They should have gotten 3 or 4 on how they were playing against City. It was actually a decent game. I saw part of it, but
it's like, how many times have we seen this? Man City gives up a lead, but then after that they come back firing, and then after that they're winning the game. But I was surprised. I was like peeking a little bit on my phone, like, oh, it's still 1-0, everything. I was expecting the Man City comeback, but I was surprised how it ended 2-1, and you get a goal from someone who's you're not suspecting it from, your defender. But
why didn't Semenyo get the man of the match? Because he could have had two or 3 himself.
Maybe because he didn't put them all away. But I agree.
Maybe, or maybe because he's not wearing a Newcastle or Man City kit.
Also,
you gotta bribe someone.
Milo's here. Got two assists. He could have been man of the match too, but
right.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But doesn't matter. They can have the man of the match if they want. They can have goal
as long
of the
as you
season.
get the 3 points at the end.
Yeah,
that's what matters.
And here, when it comes back, I think Haaland's statement to Arteta was "Stay humble." Well, we lost 2-0 to Bournemouth with a man down. They couldn't beat them 11-11. Probably with the ref on their side too. So stay humble, buddy. I know he listens to this. So
they're getting real humbled. They got humbled today. They got
3 games
in the cup. Yeah,
was it 4-1 against Sporting?
Yep.
I'm sure United fans are loving that.
Oh yeah.
But I loved what the coach said. If I win a game, I'm the next Alex Ferguson. But if I lose a game, they already want my head. They already, this is shit. But that's a great showing.
Yeah. I'm sure they're loving their soon-to-be new manager beating Manchester City. And
Just gotta wait a couple weeks.
Yeah.
They're probably just crying of joy, like finally, a coach that wins. But
how many times have they said that?
But Eric Ten Hag was winning, in the Deutsche League, and that the what's the Deutsche League? What? Yeah, the Dutch League.
Yeah, it's the Dutch League.
You guys are lucky. You guys played Manchester United before this coach takes over. We always get the hardest way, but we'll win the league anyway.
Okay. They always get the hardest ways. Yeah, like we injured their players.
This is how you soft launch. He just soft launched an excuse so that it's up in the air, so that if he needs it, he can go get it.
It's in his excuse right there.
The excuse is in the clouds, and he's like, "Okay, it's up there. I already said it." Because if we happen to lose to them,
he's like, clip it. I use it for a rainy day.
It's like I said.
I clip myself.
Yeah, I did say.
All right, so next game, Spurs at home.
Oh, I know someone's happy.
4-1 to Aston Villa.
We skipped all of the rest of Saturday.
Did we? Oh, shoot, you're right. I'm sorry. I keep reading from the bottom up, but...
You gotta leave the dessert for last.
Oh, this one? Brentford?
That was a good one, too, though.
Let's move on to Liverpool, then.
Oh, Liverpool
already. At home, 2-1 to Brighton. Brighton open it up at the 14 minutes, and then Liverpool leave it to the very end. Thriller. Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah, 2-1 to Liverpool. Randy, take it away.
Well, I was almost having a little flashback. So I thought it was almost like that Arsenal game because we weren't showing up in the first half. It was quite sad. I was like, Brian is, taking over the game in the first half. They're doing possession. They're winning the midfield. They were impressive. That goal, after I saw that goal, I was like, oh man, try to keep calm. But Brighton played well. I mean, we did play them again in the cup, the domestic cup, so we were fresh off of them. But it was a little scary. It was a little in the first half, but then, like I said, Arne Slot, he pays attention. He made the necessary adjustments in the second half, and it showed with Cody Gakpo scoring a goal, and of course Mo Salah come in clutch, giving the game winner, usual left foot, top in. It was great. Scary, but it's just showing that mentality that Liverpool can fight back. I prefer us not to be losing, trailing from behind, but it shows that we have that fighting spirit. I mean, the crowd helped. I think it was a good showing from everyone. Trent Alexander, he's better. He's become better defensively. It's showing usually that's our weak side on the right side where he plays. But I've loved that he's playing more.
And for Madrid,
just, I think, an all-team effort. Yeah, you wish. Maybe Poro, whatever the guy's name is, Pero might be going. I've heard as well. But all I gotta say. Yeah, Pero, I don't know. Whatever the guy's name is. But you just gotta... I'm just speaking facts, When it's Mo Salah...
Last time I was on it, he's the best football player in the world. I don't know why people... Why are you laughing for? What, Chris, why are you laughing for? I'm being serious.
There you go. Straight from a Liverpoolian. Mo Salah, I don't think a lot of people give him respect, but I know he's getting up there in age, but he just keeps coming and he does what he needs to do. Gives assists, gives goals. He's almost Mr. Reliable, but I know we have a good couple rough games coming up, but Liverpool just keeps finding a way to win, as we did today in the Champions League. We beat Brighton twice this week. We're just finding ways to win, and I think we have good depth to do it. Kelleher stepped up again. I know we got a little injury scare with Konate got injured, but as you saw today, he played. He's well, so that's good. But we got Joe Gomez to step up, and Joe Gomez came in the second half, and he played well. Good lad from the academy. So I think we're in a good place.
So Mo Salah yet to sign a contract renewal, right?
Oh, yeah, Salah, Virgil, and Trent Alexander. But supposedly everything is in a good place. I know he sent a cryptic Salah sent a cryptic post. I believe it was like, I'll never forget how amazing it feels to score in Anfield. So, I know people are speculating.
That sounds like he's saying, I won't forget when I'm playing somewhere else next season.
I know that's why people are reading it. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
When I'm in my mansion in Saudi, I won't forget.
Yeah,
but then again, that's that's his religion. He's but I would prefer if he can stay. Again, Virgil van Dijk, I think, is close on a contract renewal. Trent Alexander wants to stay at Liverpool. We're just seeing how it goes, but it's still too early in the season.
I won't forget the color red when I'm wearing white.
We'll see. You're talking about that right now. Let's see how long Saka stays. He might leave like everyone else does and go to another club to get trophies.
Nah. He's already got trophies with Arsenal.
What trophies? Look at how many trophies Eric Ten Hag had in 3 years compared to Arteta in his 5 years.
2 against 1.
And
we
you
also have
had
community shields. He doesn't have that.
oh my gosh.
Oh, there's Alan. Exactly. Who wants that plate?
If you're gonna count Carabao Cup, you gotta count community shield. I mean, come on.
Whatever. Everyone says trust the process. I think under Arne Slot, this is the perfect start. We didn't imagine this. He's the first coach to win this many games. 9 out of 10 games to start the season. That's looking good. I just think we're on a good stride. Keep it going. We'll get Allison back soon. We're looking good right now. And if we can keep this up, we should be staying at the top and still be competing for the title.
Don't bottle it now.
You know what I can't? Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, ooh,
what?
Randy liked to throw the word bottle a lot.
I know.
That word a lot.
Don't bottle it.
Oh,
and now,
we'll see.
If
they don't win,
clip it. Whatever.
Man.
Remember, this isn't the year that Liverpool was supposed to be winning.
It doesn't matter.
But I'm saying
even if you don't win it. It doesn't matter because you're saying how
we're first for how long though? Right now, let's see how it is in the December at the end of the year.
You were first the most days last season and didn't win it, but Arsenal, I know, bottlers, even though we weren't first like the entire season,
ruined it with this retirement speech, and after that it went downhill.
Well, you guys said, "Oh, we gotta give it last dance. We're gonna win all 4 quadruple."
Yeah, but shit happens. We still won a trophy out of it, but I just think that that speech could have. Oh, why did it go? After that, it was like it went downhill.
Running out of energy.
Yeah, so then Liverpool ran out of energy,
and that's why he won the energy drink cup. They thought he would stay. Ale, are you getting convinced now, or you still think it's pretenders?
I'll give it to them. They've gotten more points out of these last few results than I expected them to. I think having a new manager, you have a new way of playing. There isn't so much, film, or teams don't know your strategy as much. So it's new to the league. There could be a point where Arnie starts getting figured out, or there's going to be some fatigue. It's shifted my phoniness, the phony radar on Liverpool shifted a little bit, but I'm not super convinced, and I don't know if it's because Man City just figures out a way to win it every single year. But we'll see. It did shift a little bit. It's not. I won't say it's leaning more towards the contenders versus the pretenders, but it's.
If you would have to give it between Arsenal and Liverpool, who would you give it to at this moment?
Oh, I think right now Liverpool. I need to see how Arsenal is with Odegaard back. Does he complete, is he the final piece? Because it almost seems like, sure, he's that missing, a key role in that team. What supporting cast around him is going to, I'm sure he elevates the players around him, but is that going to be enough?
And we have the international break, so we'll see what happens with the other teammates that go on. It didn't do us well.
Norway wanted to call Odegaard. They're like, oh, he's training. All right, he can come to the national team. We're like, what? No, what? No way.
Yeah, just fake an injury. Just roll your ankle real quick.
You have Arteta, yeah. Que vergüenza. You have Arteta. You could have been like, he's not gonna let that fly.
Nah, he won't. Well, I don't think he's going anyway because they're like, he's still like building up to it. But they're like, oh, we're looking forward to having him. Like, what? He's still injured. Anyway, all right. So, it's getting interesting at the top. Speaking of the top, Nottingham Forest are now sitting third in the league. They beat West Ham.
Over who?
Over a lot, most of the teams, a lot of teams. Yeah. I don't even know. There's so many. But they beat West Ham United 3-0. Is West Ham going to be looking for a manager change by Christmas? Yeah.
I honestly thought he was kept. I thought he was going to be gone right after this game. Honestly,
Mourinho?
I think
maybe, but you got to wait 2 years. No. But the thing he's talking about how it is in the Turkish league. Sounds like he might get out of his contract soon if the position opens.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, look what happened with Everton.
West Ham do have the stadium, do have players. I think they have money. So I think that does entice them somewhat. David Moyes won a trophy with West Ham. I think Mourinho could do the exact same thing.
It's just going to be another Roma to him. I mean, so I guess.
But he's familiar with the Premier League, and let's be honest, he's must watch TV. Who doesn't want to see Pep, Slot, Arteta, Mourinho, all these great coaches going at it in the one league?
Wow, you didn't mention Postecoglou in there?
His name was hard to say, so I kept him out. But it's you have all these coaches there. I think that would be great. Mourinho, you don't know what he's going to play, what he's going to say. I think it's enticing. As a West Ham fan, I think you'd be happy to get him because he's a winner. But you're hoping, like Alan says, you're hoping he doesn't go park the bus or defensive. But we'll see. Maybe he changed his tune.
I feel like too many teams are weary to sign him. I don't think he's all that.
He's not the special one anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he's all that wanted. Like he's not seeked. I think teams rather look for that next younger, new, long-term coach, and they're not looking for that big name anymore.
Should we send in a resume?
I mean,
They just got to look at our FIFA record.
Yeah. 1 in 15.
Anything to get to London. Anything to get to Europe.
It's a close 15. If we would have scored another 100 goals, we would have been perfect record. But I don't think Marino's got a. I don't think West Ham would go for him. I think he would sign that deal, but I don't think West Ham is looking in his direction. Like I said, I think a lot of teams are looking for that younger manager, that
Eric Tahagen,
fresh. Like look at United. They didn't go for it's a big club. You should go for a big name, but they're going for that guy from Sporting, Ruby. I don't even know his name.
Ruben.
Yeah. But
good on. I don't want to take too much away from Nottingham Forest. Like I said, they're sitting third right now. Yeah. I don't know how long this is going to last.
It's a good story, though.
Yeah,
it's a good story to see them back. They were close to relegation, and then to go into the top three. It's a good showing from them. Chris Wood is showing up, but let's see how the season plans out. They might not stay in the top 6. I feel they can be top 10, but for now, it's a nice story for them. It's sort of like that Leicester City type of story in a way, but it's good for the fans. It's good for that club. It's nice after the season they had last year.
Southampton get their first win of the season at the hands of Everton. Armstrong gets the man of the match. All right. Yeah, so they leave it late, 85th minute winner. They finally get their first win. Everton, again, showing their inconsistencies. Yeah, finally. Are they still relegation side?
Oh, of course.
They're
relegated. 1 win, 1 draw.
It was against Everton. When I see them win against someone with higher quality, I might change my tune. But right now, it was against Everton. Nothing's changed. They're getting relegated.
So you're saying when they beat Liverpool, then you'll say, they have a chance. They could win the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Good luck with that. Maybe Spurs. because they lost to Crystal Palace.
No, we had our one moment.
You're going to have other moments.
So now Everton are sitting in 16th place. Wolves still winless. They moved down to 20th. Southampton 19th. Ipswich 18. And then right above them is Crystal Palace, Everton, and Leicester City 17, 16, 15. So Everton is still in danger. Crystal Palace still in danger. Wolves very, very close to making it impossible for themselves to climb back out. And next game here, Wolves 2-2 at home hosting Crystal Palace. They were one goal down. They come back to 2-1, but Mark Gay ties it up from a corner kick, tapped in after a headed deflection. Yeah, still winless Wolves. We keep giving them props, but they just can't pull one out.
We have to stop at one point. I know we keep giving them props and the way they're playing, they're a hard team to beat in a weird sense, but they just keep getting beat. It's, Ipswich hasn't won a game, but they're still sitting 2 points above them, They have 5 draws. Wolves only have 3 draws. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to gauge this team.
I'm still going to pull for Wolves.
I think they'll still make it.
Yeah.
They're going to be like Nottingham of last year. They're going to barely make it. But I still believe they can make it.
So who goes down for you guys if Wolves doesn't go down? Southampton, we mentioned. Probably Ipswich. And then who else? Yeah. Everton, Palace, Leicester.
I think Leicester City is going to start making their way down.
They only have 2 wins, so yeah.
Yeah, they're not all that.
As do Everton, though.
Yeah, but I just think Everton has more money to spend. I feel like they might do something in the transfer window to save their season.
Mourinho?
No, players, not coach.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, but I just think Wolves, Crystal Palace, and Everton, they have more experience. They know what it needs to do to stay in the league. I just see them finding a way to stay.
That experience should be showing already.
The thing is, how many seasons now have they been in the same situation?
Yeah.
At what point, if they're not turning it around this early in the season, like if they're not going into the season having turned this around, like when is it going to be too late? When it's going to be one too many seasons where they're testing.
I think in December, that's when everyone makes the decision to start the year new, I guess. But you still have plenty of soccer to play, but you got to hope that you have some points so you're not you don't have a big gap to catch up. But
I think the last 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, so those last 6 or 5 teams, I think their future is in the hands of each other, if that makes sense. Like whoever.
Yeah, they got to rely on the other teams to get the results, and that can be
worse.
Them.
Yeah, it's like they're waiting to see who's worse. There's how do I explain it? Like there's sometimes you have your fate in your own hands. You start winning games, you're going to move up the table. I feel like they're not going to be having too many victories. They're not going to be coming away with these results with a lot of points. So they had to do their part, but I feel like they also have to rely on the other teams and just be the better or the worse.
Prayers.
Or when you come against those teams, you got to make sure you beat those teams at least, because then it's like a 6-point game.
Yeah. You got to win the home games, and you got to win against those teams that you're supposed to win.
It's like Ipswich and Leicester City. They drew 1-1. Did you see that goal by Davis? Ipswich's goal?
I did not.
I think that would have been my goal of the week.
I'll have to look it up. All right, so moving on to Sunday. Tottenham Forest and Villa won. All right, so Manchester United, Chelsea. Oh no, should I go back?
That's a boring game. That's
why.
So,
there we go.
Tottenham Hotspur hosting Aston Villa. Some might say this could be a direct rival for the top 4 position. That's currently up in the air with Nottingham Forest sitting 3rd. I think anybody could take those other 2 spots. Obviously, we know Manchester City is probably going to take one. Liverpool will probably take the other. The other 2 could be Arsenal, Tottenham, Villa, Nottingham Forest. But they make a
Chelsea.
statement win here, 4-1 against Aston Villa. A game of two halves again. Would you say that?
I won't say no.
Because Aston Villa was really good the first half, and they were winning.
Really? I don't think they were really good.
I thought they were.
Yeah, you
excellent.
think you say that about everyone. You think Spurs are the best team.
Because we are. We just did you not see us knock out Man City out of the Carabao Cup? You're welcome. Carabao.
They had like 5 15-year-olds in the starting lineup.
So we did too.
That's your team anyways.
That's your starting lineup. That's
exactly.
We're going with everyone needs permission slips to go play.
They have a curfew. But
So yeah, 4-1. I didn't expect this. I did say in my prediction that the Spurs were going to let me down and score more points than what I predicted. And here we are staring at a 4-1 victory for the almighty Spurs. At halftime it was Austin Villa were up 1. It was a 1-0. But I didn't feel like it was all that. There's some games where you're like, man, I don't know if we're gonna score or we're more looking like a draw than taking those 3 points. But I didn't feel like Villa controlled that first half. I kind of sat comfortable. I didn't think we led it either. I think it was that first half was very tight. But they couldn't keep up with us. I think our pressing we really ran them down. You could tell that we were the more fitter team. With Emi Martinez winning that best keeper, we kind of disproved that in this game. It was just good to see Dom Solanke is seeing him, get a brace. We've been talking a lot. Well, I've been talking a lot about what he does off the ball. But eventually, you do want to see your striker score once in a while. And that's what we needed to see him do. And he did it. He was very composed. The goals were very I don't want to say routine, but that's the type of goals that Postecoglou likes to set up. Like you see that same almost like routine or scheme or plays, with those wingers. And it's just paying off now. I think we're playing a lot better defensively, even though we're, Romero came off. So we had Ben Davis and Dragusin, which Dragusin has since last year, he's stepped up a lot. So I'm glad to have him on the team. I'm glad we're in a position where when we have to rest players, those bench players can come in and be effective. They're not game changers, but they're also not causing us to lose games. So it's very good to see because, we were kind of like Arsenal last year, where last year we were missing a player and we just fell apart. We missed Romero, Van der Ven for a few games, and it almost seemed like that was the change of the tie throughout the rest of the season after, being undefeated for the first 10 games. After that Chelsea game, we didn't recover the whole time. So it's glad to see that we can have, Sonny out. Van der
give him
Ven,
the time he needs to rest.
Romero. Yeah, they get, we are playing Europe, domestic, but we're also, we have time to rest these players. We can change our lineup. You can see it though. Like I think this next game against Galatasaray.
Ipswich? Oh
no, in the Europe, I think we're going to play a lot of young players, just to kind of have that more of a rotation through our starting lineup. And I don't know if I'm hoping to win, but I think we're going to have a lot of 17, 18, 19-year-olds out there playing, which I'm glad to see because, if there's anywhere to, get experience and play under pressure, it's out there in Turkey. So,
and that's always a hard stadium play.
Yeah, and we're sitting in a good spot in Europe, but to the point where even if we lose, we're not or draw, we're not dying for those points. And I think it's a good balance so that we can still be competitive in both leagues, and I'm good where we're at. I think, like I said, we're slow risers. It's funny enough, if you look at the table, I remember, was it Pat? Was that you were like, hey, if Man United win and you guys lose, they're gonna go over. They're gonna pass you on the table.
That's factual. Yeah, that would have happened.
Funny enough, right? Nottingham Forest is sitting at 19 points. Chelsea at 18, Arsenal at 18, Aston Villa 18, and Spurs at 16. So, let me do the math for you. If Arsenal lose again and Spurs win, guess who jumps on the table?
You still got to play us at the Emirates, so we're gonna get those points back. Don't worry. Don't worry.
You brought it up. You like to talk about it all the time.
We all like to talk.
Hey.
But is this going to change the course of your season? Is this game gonna from now on you're hoping for consistency after this game? Are you expecting that? Or are you expecting? I mean, the next game is against Ipswich, and then after the international break, you're against Man City at the Etihad. So what are you expecting, honestly?
This has to be, this is what we need to see. Is it going to happen? I don't know. It hasn't happened, back to back. Yeah, consistently enough to be like, okay, this is the new norm. But this is where we need to be, especially if we're with the style of football we're playing that Ange wants to play. Like, this is where we need to be, putting 4 past the quote unquote world's greatest keeper, which I think is a bunch of BS. But
I think what Randy was asking was, are you going to see any more of these Leicester performances against Brighton kind of things, or are you now a consistent team? If you happen to lose, it won't be like a weird.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I can say that yet. And I'm expecting one or two more of these fluky losses, but I'm having my fingers crossed that this is that's behind us. I'm actually very confident. I don't want to say very confident. I'm actually confident, more confident now after this Villa. I was kind of,
because Villa's a good team.
Nervous.
Let's not take anything against them. They're a good team.
They rested a lot of players, and they actually ended up losing to in the cup. They had like 9 or 10 changes to their lineup so they can rest their players, so they can come out to Tottenham and try to beat us. But guess what? We said no, Emmy. Sorry, but here's 4 goals down your throat. Bend it like Madison.
That was a fantastic free kick. It
was yes. It was a nice cherry on the top right there.
Yeah. Yep.
I think what makes me feel a little bit more confident is the fact that these last 2 games, Ange played Sarr and Bentancur.
Sarr's been playing well too,
and they've been playing really well together. So it's showing a little bit of that depth is looking a little bit better, and that lineup cohesion is looking better. So I'm hoping that the other teams start feeling a little fatigued, in all this football being played, and that we can just, be those slow risers. And guess what? Second, first, who knows? Maybe we don't stop.
Clip it.
Yeah, struggle bus.
All right.
Struggle bus.
Actually, you know what? We all predicted Chelsea to blow Manchester United out of the water, essentially. I know Alan, I think, said 3-2, or was that you, Randy?
No, I said 3-2.
I said 3-0. I
said 3-1. We all expected for Chelsea to do their thing, however it may have come. And they held their own. Unfortunately, while they did start off lively and they got the first goal, they switched off like it can happen shortly after scoring a goal. Moises Caicedo gets their goal, and
a nice volley.
Yeah, nice goal, and Chelsea they won one. Should they have won anyway, Chelsea? I feel like they should have. I think you got to give Manchester United credit. They have been looking better. I think everyone expected them to lose, and they didn't. So it's some sort of progress, right?
But you can see like Casemiro, like the emotions he had. He was being more vocal. You didn't see this type under Eric Ten Hagen. You didn't see these players fighting like that. I think it's because Ruud van Nistelrooy, Man United legend, gave him a good pep talk, or he knows a little more than Eric Ten Hagen. Well, we still don't know much because we still have to see him coach some more games. But I just feel like this Manchester United team had a different mentality. They actually wanted to play with Ruud van Nistelrooy as their coach compared to when Eric Ten Hagen was their coach.
I think it's kind of like what you guys said last week. Like, well, it's just something new, something shiny. I don't think he might have done much. I don't think he gave him within a week, I don't think he turned around the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he changed much tactics or whatever. I just feel like I'm sure the players weren't big fans of Eric. And now that they have him, the intermittent manager, it's something new, something shiny, and they're like, "Oh, okay, here's change." And you play good for one match, though. I want to see what they look like next week to see if
they got the Europa too. We'll see how that goes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll see how they do. Chelsea again, a point away to an unexpected Man United.
I mean, the rejuvenated Man United, but it's, at least it was a good
Caicedo
game.
over Rice. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that right?
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
I say Caicedo over Rice, honestly. But at that price tag, no. I think Rice would be the bargain buy. But I think I would take Caicedo.
But I think it's due to Arsenal not doing great at the moment. I think he's been struggling. There's been a lot of changes too, new players, a lot of shifting around. So I think he's being affected by that. Didn't have the greatest game last game. So, but you know what? We'll see. We'll see how things change once Odegaard comes back.
I mean, I agree with you because Moises Caicedo, he didn't have the best year last year. But that was due to the strong. Due to the new team, new coaches, new all these things. He didn't have the best squad, so I can see it the same with Rice. You're a different player when you have certain type of player playing next to you, and it's showing. He's missing Odegaard. I bet if he had him, he'd be a different type of player. And now we're seeing Caicedo with the right player, with the right coach, the right team tactics and everything strategy. He's playing like his price tag says it should be.
So Enzo, he's been benched a lot more. What do you guys think he'll be?
I was just about to bring him up.
I was reading an article. The stats with him on the team are like 30% win rate. And when he's off, they're playing without him, it jumps up to like 73% or something like that. Even when he's a defensive midfielder, even with him on, they play bad defensively. And when he's off, they play superb. They play better. And that's your money guy.
Yeah. He had an open net, and I'm pretty sure he shanked it. And he just, I think he just broke up with his wife or something because he wants to go live out his life.
The single life. I saw that.
I'm like, dude, you might be broke too if you don't, start playing right. Because
go to Saudi.
Back to Portugal. Portugal.
Saudi.
Yeah, Saudi.
MLS.
Saudi.
Go to Miami.
Yeah, but I mean, for your guy that you've paid so much money for, and he's not on the field or starting, or you're not even getting what you're supposed to get out of him. It's sad. Look how much money they spent on Mudryk and on Enzo, and it's not panning out.
We'll see where this January transfer window might look a lot busier than the previous ones for a lot of teams.
I mean, they do have to do some slimming. Chelsea, they got a bunch of players they got to sell. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So last game, this was Monday. Fulham at home taking on Brentford. They went 2-1. Fulham again showing that they can be a top 10 team. But still a long way to go. We'll see. Hopefully they don't suffer too many injuries and same thing with Brentford, struggling, but they look like a team that's going to be safe again this year.
Good last injury time winner for Fulham.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't give Anthony Robinson credit. He's flying under the radar. A lot of people don't give him credit. He's one of the best left backs. But I think it's because he's American or something.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't. He doesn't show up when he plays with the U.S.
But it's different. Like you play with this team more. Pulisic, but that's it basically. But you play more with this team than you do with the national team. You got like 2 weeks to play with them, train, and get used to everything. He's playing with these players. 8 months out of the year. So of course you're familiar with them. But we'll see how it goes with Pochettino. But I think Robinson, he is a player to look out. He's so young. I think even us, a couple big teams in the Premier League are looking at him. But I think he's a good player.
Chelsea would be a good team for him. I mean, Malo Gusto's not probably the best player that they've had to play. And then obviously Reece James, he's
Mr. Injury.
He plays once a year.
Lucky to get a couple games. Yeah, so we'll see.
Spends more time in the hospital than on the field.
Looking into the games next week, let me touch up on the prediction mini league. There we go. Got too excited. So
I think I should get
no points. You got no points at all for that. Why are you excited? Just because you're still on top?
What?
I think I should get extra points.
All right, so
you want extra
just to go over everything. None of us got points for the highlight game. We all predicted Chelsea to win, and it came out a draw. Alan gets a point for getting the winner in this Tottenham game, and Randy gets a point for guessing the winner in the Liverpool game. Yeah. So with that leaves me up still at first, sitting with 16 points. Randy finally double digits with 10, and Alan close third with 7 points. So now let's take a look at the upcoming
why you say
games.
Third place? Just say what it is. Last place.
Oh, sorry, in the relegation zone.
I should get extra points because I predicted that we were going to score more than what I predicted. So,
all right, you get 0.1, so you're at 7.1.
If you want more points, we can also deduct points.
Randy couldn't get his microphone to work, so we're going to deduct the point.
Wow.
So it's
no excuses.
Finally, no Friday games, but obviously lots of midweek action. But moving on to Saturday, let's just quickly go through your predicted winner for this. So first game, 10 a.m., Brentford against Bournemouth. What do you guys think? I think Bournemouth take this.
I want to say, Bournemouth.
I'll go with Brentford. They're playing home. I believe they will be able to get it.
Then we got 10 a.m. again, same time, Crystal Palace against Fulham.
Crystal Palace.
Fulham. I'm going to go Fulham. And then same time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, West Ham at home hosting Everton. West Ham going to get back right back on track?
Nope, Everton wins this, and the West Ham manager gets sacked.
No, I think West Ham lives to see another day. West Ham wins.
All right. I'm going to go with the Hammers as well. So same time, again, consecutive games. Wolves at home hosting Southampton. Southampton just got their first win. Wolves still looking for their first. Do they get their first win?
Wolves will get their first win. They're at home.
Finally?
Wolves.
Yes,
Wolves
they should finally get
their first win.
Okay.
If not, they're in trouble.
Yep.
Then I'm off the Wolves bus.
Brighton at home hosting a bleeding Manchester City. Does Brighton get one over Manchester City and prolong the embarrassment tour?
I think it's a stopgap. I think a draw.
A draw sounds. I think Man City win. I think
so too.
I think it's a draw.
So this is going to be where Manchester City is now 3 losses in a row. First loss coming from Tottenham.
Ooh.
Second loss. I'm sorry. What was the first loss? Bournemouth. So Tottenham in the League Cup, and they lose to Bournemouth in the league, and now they just lost to Sporting Lisboa 4-1. So now they're coming up against Brighton, who could do damage. They've done damage to a lot of teams. So
you were the mid game. You were the midweek game.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you weren't?
No, sir.
Heard. Whatever. It doesn't matter the order, but those are the 3 teams they lost.
We killed the spirit.
All right, so now here we have a game that could be a contender for highlight game. We have Liverpool at home hosting Aston Villa, who just lost to Spurs, and they'll want revenge. They want to get those 3 points back.
Well, they're going to have to wait.
And why is that?
Liverpool's going to win it.
Until the weekend, when they face Liverpool?
What? Aston Villa, they ain't going to beat Liverpool at home.
Clip it.
All
Clip it all you
right.
want. Clip it all you want. You just
wanna hear that.
you have a bunch of clips that you haven't used, and I'm waiting.
I want to hear that remix version.
Clip it all you want. This is the remix. No, we're not losing to Aston Villa.
All right.
We're gonna win. Should I give my predictions or hold off?
Let's hold to the end. But Alan, what do you think?
Does it start?
No. The needle is going to be pointing more to
Maybe
contender.
It's a tie. I think it's a tie. I think Villa did get, a little lesson taught. Maybe they're like, well, we got to show up.
Maybe.
They'll
wake up.
I can see a tie. I can see a draw.
I think I'm going to go with the draw as well. I think Aston Villa are going to hold Liverpool to a draw.
I think Aston Villa will score a goal,
drawers.
but I just think Liverpool is going to end up winning. But we'll go on with the predictions at the end.
All right, so now Sunday, November 10th, you have Manchester United at home taking on Leicester. I think Manchester United with their revitalized squad, I think they take this one.
I think so
should
too.
be a win for
I don't think it's an easy victory for United, but I think they do win.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got more
Agreed.
confidence, or I think they're playing well under new management because it's fresh, it's new. They should get the 3 points.
All right. Third place, Nottingham Forest taking on Newcastle.
I think nothing in the Forest is going to keep it going.
Yep.
Especially
I'm
at
going
home.
Newcastle. I'm going Newcastle this one.
Because
I
they
think
beat the mighty
Newcastle-
Arsenal?
That was a walk in the park for them.
Let's see how they do it in the Forest.
City grounds. Yeah, I think Newcastle.
I'm going to go Forest.
Yep,
They're on a
I'm going
streak
with
right
Forest. They're on.
No, you guys can't go. You have you two have no right to say Forest when you two put them in the bottom 3 in the beginning of the season. In the beginning of the season,
So
Well, I know
remember.
somebody that says there's plenty of season left.
that's
Oh,
only
yeah,
that's
we
only when it
sounded
comes to Spurs.
All right, speaking of
Spurs, yeah.
Spurs at home, 9 a.m. Sunday Eastern time, hosting Ipswich.
Alan, be reasonable.
Are they gonna
Ipswich is
Are
gonna
they
win.
gonna be overconfident in this
We're
one?
going to pull a Crystal Palace.
And maybe slip up?
I'm gonna say 3-1.
Oh, I thought we were going predictions at the end.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
spoiled
I
it. You
guess
spoiled it.
Spurs wins then.
You
Of course
jinxed it.
Spurs
You
are gonna
jinxed
win.
it.
Yep, there you go.
Shit.
All right.
Well, I think of course.
I think Spurs
I think we're
win.
gonna-
Yeah.
I think we have to.
You have to keep that going.
Yeah. I think we'll have especially at home. I think we'll have the crowd behind us, and I want Ipswich. I've been rooting for Ipswich this season, but they just haven't had.
Keep rooting
enough.
for them. Keep rooting for
Keep
them.
rooting them.
No,
Root for them this game.
week.
Yeah.
Nope, not this week.
So Spurs at home, where the VAR offside lines never work.
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
All right.
Or we could go to the Emirates or Arsenal, and where the attacking never works.
Yeah. All right, and then the last game, Sunday, 11:30. This is a London derby. Chelsea at home hosting one of their biggest rivals, Arsenal.
What color is going to be London? Huh? I'm going to say it's going to be blue.
Really?
Thank you. Blue and white?
Chelsea, not Spurs.
Never
What do you
mind.
think, Alan?
You already know what he's going to say. His hatred for Arsenal.
I'm gonna go tie. I think they tie again.
Ooh.
I forgot about that.
I think Chelsea will draw. I think they're gonna play better than they played against United, but they didn't show me enough against United to say that they might beat Arsenal, but neither did Arsenal. If Odegaard's back,
It all
think they
depends
have
on
Arsenal-
that as well.
Yeah, I think they have a better chance of winning. But like I said, I don't trust their supporting cast just yet. And who knows if he might be limited on minutes? They might play him.
That's what
They
I'm
might play
thinking.
him-
He might be limited. He might not see the full 90. He might
Yeah, I
come
don't
on
think he will
late or
either.
something. So it all
Yeah.
depends on what the situation is at that point.
But I just think the Arsenal, I think Saliba and Gabriel might be good enough to, for that Chelsea
To stop
offense.
Cole
that-
Palmer.
Cole Palmer. Who knows? Is he going to put 1, 2, 3?
So, what do you guys think were highlight week of the game? Highlight game of the
That's,
week. Sorry, Liverpool against Villa or Chelsea Arsenal. I line it up even prettier for you guys, and this is going to count against me.
Clip it.
Chelsea and Arsenal are both sitting at 18 points, only apart in goal difference by 2 goals. So whoever wins this,
You'll get into the top 4.
they stay in top 4. Yeah,
Because Liverpool ain't losing Aston Villa.
clip it.
Maybe
And if
there
there's
is
not,
no
then it
winners.
stays the way it is, and Chelsea stay in top 4. Yeah.
I just think, I'll go with Chelsea Arsenal
let's go
because I think
Arsenal.
you do have a good point. They're neck and neck right now. Only goal differential separates them.
All
I
right.
just think Aston Villa lost badly, and I just don't see it being that much of a important game against Liverpool to be a highlight game.
Clip it.
Clip it.
Whatever, clip all you want. But Chelsea and Arsenal.
So let's start with Randy. Liverpool at home taking on Aston Villa. What's the score?
Damn, I want to say 3-1. 3-1. Yeah, let's do 3-1.
Oh,
Yeah.
3-1.
Well, I'm not going to be like you and say Spurs are going to go 4-0.
Easy.
We're playing at home. But I think Aston Villa will score. Either it's a Watkins or a Duran goal. But I do think we have momentum. We're playing at home.
It's the world's best keeper.
Kelleher? But I just think we're on fire right now, and I think we have momentum, and I just think we're going to be a little too much for Aston Villa, honestly. 3-1.
Clip it.
Liverpool.
All right. So moving on to Spurs, Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. What is it, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time?
Desert time?
All right.
Yep.
So what's the prediction here?
I'm going to go 3-1.
Wow, copycat. Get on the bandwagon. Okay, I see it.
No, because we can actually score 3-1. We scored 22 goals this season, so
What? And
easy.
those goals got you how far up the table?
Easy.
But what?
Don't worry. Slow risers.
Slow risers,
Don't
and you
worry.
fall down real hard, real fast.
All
All right,
right.
3-1 Spurs.
But I think 3-1. I think what's that kid's name?
We're from Ipswich.
Yeah,
that's what I was-
Delap is probably going to score. Liam Delap, he'll probably score a goal, but 3-1.
All right, so now let's move on to the Arsenal and highlight game. Chelsea at home hosting Arsenal. We started with Randy. Why don't we start off with Randy?
Well, okay. I will actually think it's going to be 2-1 Chelsea. I just think Chelsea has a better team at the moment because I'm not really sure of how Odegaard is going to be when he comes back. Minute limitations and injuries to the other players, and we don't know what Arteta's lineup's going to be. But I just think Chelsea is in a better position at the moment to eke out a win. 2-1 Chelsea.
Alan?
All right.
Jinx.
For
So
Arsenal.
Nottingham Forest, Newcastle. Newcastle's going to beat Forest. So Forest isn't going to, they're going to have 19 points. And then Chelsea and Arsenal, they're going to tie at 2-2, giving them 1 point each. So they'll be sitting at
So
19
this is all
points.
beneficial for your team.
And then when my mighty
That's what it
Spurs,
is.
when my mighty Spurs win, we'll have 19. And we go straight to third.
You're like that
baby.
Adam Sandler meme where he's like, this is how I win. think it was at the Jewel movie. I forget remember what it was. This is how I win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jump.
All right, so I'm gonna give it to the boys in red. I think we're gonna take this. I think Chelsea are gonna think they're gonna walk through us. I think we're gonna be able to neutralize Cole Palmer, and they're gonna get one. But I think we're gonna come back at the end. Saka. I'm gonna go Saka and Martinelli score one. 2-1 2-1. Chelsea 1, Arsenal 2.
Once again, there's only be one.
So it's like I need some points. You guys are catching
You've been
up.
on a drought, bro.
Yeah. All right, and that's an episode. Thank you so much for joining us on Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Rivals on the Pitch. Keep up with the mini league. Looking forward to some nice games this weekend. Take them all in, soak it all up, because then we'll be heading into an international break. Thanks so much for joining us. Please share the podcast with all your friends, anyone who watches Premier League. And yeah, leave some comments, what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to see. And that's it. I'm Pat.
I'm Randy.
And I'm Alan.
Bye.
Bye.